All right, welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Happy all things. My thought for you today is on Anjali Mudra. So the hands to heart center. We often say that this translates to how may I serve? And it's great for it to be a momentary thing. This is how may I serve in this moment, but it's also, I've been thinking, a way to recognize how you intend to continue to serve. Right. So I've been speaking a lot in the last week or so about how we can't bypass where we are, and we can't assume that what worked yesterday is going to work today or tomorrow to bring us back to a state of balance. That's always changing. But this feeling of hands at heart center, how may I serve? Right? How can my life be of service to the world that I'm in? That's a constant. Right? So the details of it might change moment to moment, but that heartfelt feeling of how may I be in service, of actually feeling the desire to be in service, that's constant, right? So the hands at heart center, even if it's not held physically, is can we stay there in a mental place, an emotional place, where we're looking at the continuation of how can my life be of service to the world that I'm in? Right? Not just how I can live well or how I can do well, but how can my life be of service? And what's my intention for that service to take place? Right? So comfortable seat, because things do continue to change. And that constant thread of being in services, this is what we're told spiritually, is that when things are intense, and things are still intense, right? The world is shifting, but it's still intense. But we're told that when we're in that moment, we're not sure how things are going to go, is that we're asked to turn to service. And that's exactly that thought of how can my life be playing a part in bringing about what I want to see in this world. So we have a new president, and still, what is your intention for your life to be service to this world? Because it's not just the government's job, right? It's your job. It's my job. So hands at heart center with the eyes closed for a moment. Just breathing in the concept that service is not a requirement, but service is a gift that you give. So service is not having to do anything that you hate doing because someone wants you to. Service is what is in me that I love so much that I'm willing to support with my whole self. My life is a giving to this whole world, not a taking. So wherever that feeling of service brings you to, is that that's where your life goes. But the desire, may I be in service, that is a constant place that will pull us to where we need to be and what we need to do and bring us to that place of peace. You are no longer separated from the rest of the world as you are the rest of the world. One more breath into that concept, that question, how may my life be of service? And then we'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. Stay seated. Take your hands to the front of your knees or your thighs and just start to circle your torso. So you're rolling around on your sit bones. Good. Moving the torso. And then start to spin yourself the other direction. And the idea here is that as you are circling, is that you're allowing there to be space between your side waist and your hip points. Good. So again, those deep internal muscles they get sticky. It's a sticky place. We have to unstick. Good. And then come back to center, please. Cat-cow your spine, inhaling, lifting the chest up, drawing the sit bones back and wide, then exhaling, curling and rounding. Good. I've also been thinking to myself, for myself, and so I'm throwing it at you too, is that whatever your form of service or action in your life is don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Don't wait for tomorrow if there's something that you can be present with today. Because that accumulation is what starts to feel like there's too much for us to possibly handle. And so we don't do anything. So don't procrastinate. You don't have to do everything in a moment, but you have to confront it internally in the moment that it's there. So don't bypass where you are and don't procrastinate. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch your arms up alongside your ears. Deep inhale. Then exhale, twist to your right, left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Good. Deep breath in. Exhale, draw the ribs back, round into your back rib cage. Good. And then sit nice and tall again, lifting wide through the chest. Inhale. And then exhale, round into your back. You're still in the twist, same twist. You're just breathing a little differently. Inhaling, lifting and lengthening, not arching the spine, just lifting long. And then one more time, exhaling, rounding into the back of your ribs, into the low spine. And then come back up to long spine, unwind your twist, back to center. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Twist the other way to your left, right hand to the left knee, left hand behind you. Good, so you're staying in the twist. Deep breath in, you get a little taller. Exhale, round into your back ribs. Maybe you twist a little deeper, but the point is to round. Get that bra strap or middle back area nice and full. And then inhale, lift and widen your chest. And exhale, round into the back of the ribs again. Good, and then one more time, inhaling, lifting and lengthening, widening the chest. Exhaling, rounding into that middle back area. And then come back up to long spine, release the twist, back to center. Good. And then roll forward onto hands and knees. Systematically unsticking things so that we could even get to the psoas. Stretch your right leg back behind you. Good. Drop the heel flat to the floor. Take your right arm up to the sky, left hand underneath the left shoulder. Good. So work at stacking the hips here. So you're lifting that right hip on top of the left, pressing through your left shin. Good. Deep breath in. And then as you exhale, wrap that right arm around in front of you. Take it behind your left armpit. So it's like you're reaching underneath you, back behind you. That's it, Anju. Good. Yeah, really round into your back ribs. Good. And then take the arm back up to the sky. Inhale. Good. And then exhale, reach around underneath you again. Rounding into your ribs. So you're not just leaning your chest forward here. You're keeping your hips as stacked as you can. Right arm back up to the sky. Good. One more time. Exhale, bring that arm around and forward. Good. Press through the back of your ribs and keep the hips stacked. Good. And then right arm back up to the sky. Nice. Lean forward onto that left wrist a little bit more. Take your right leg up off the floor. Good. And then you're going to pull that knee in towards your chest. So bring your right knee in towards your chest. You can use your hand to squeeze in if you like or not. And then extend it straight back again. Good. And then pull it in towards your chest. Again, pulling your tail towards your heel as you do. So you get that length on your low back and then extend it back out. Good. One more time. Squeeze it in. Nice. Hips are still stacked. So you're still opening to the side and then extend all the way back. Awesome. And then release that foot back to hands and knees. Come back, child's pose, knees wide, big toes together to touch. Good. Right, the yogic journey, you say layers and layers and layers of experience that accumulate over that source energy that we are, the soul energy. And so when we start practicing, it's like we're going backwards through all of those layers. Walk your torso to the right. And every piece that we encounter, we're like, what is this? And it's its own entity. It's its own world. Come back to center, please go the other way. Torso over the left thigh. So part of our practice is that as soon as we find a little bit of space, is that we don't continue to accumulate more thoughts, more reactions, more things that are us taking the world in, but not giving ourselves back to the world. And that's the how may I be of service, not how am I reacting to the world, but what am I bringing to the world that will shape where the world goes. Come back to center. Good. And then back up to hands and knees, please. Take your left leg back behind you, toes tucked on the floor. Drop the heel flat, and then take the left arm up to the sky. Again, pressing through that right shin. So again, you're trying to stack the hips here like you're in Ardha Chandrasana, or you're in triangle poses. You're trying to find that same feeling on your pelvis. Good. Deep breath in, chest open, and then wrap that left arm around underneath you. Good. Keeping the hips as stacked as you can as you turn your ribs the opposite direction. Good. Take the arm back up to the sky. Nice. And then exhale, curl under again, reach underneath you. Good. So really reach, Lauren. Turn your chest forward. That's it. Yep. And then take the arm back up to the sky. So now you're opening the chest. Good. And then last time, reach around underneath you. Really wrap, really curl into your back rib cage. Curl, curl, curl. Good. And then take that arm back up to the sky. Nice. Now you're leaning your weight forward. So your right armpit is coming on top of your right wrist, and then take the left leg up off the floor, parallel to the floor, like Ardha Chandrasana. Good. And then left knee comes in towards your chest. Again, you can use the hand to squeeze it in if you'd like, or just use the leg and then extend straight back. Nice, Anju. Good, Sarah. Good. And then pull the knee back in towards your chest, squeeze it in all the way in so you feel the arch come out of your low back, and then extend the leg straight back, but only to that point where you're not arching. So don't let the heel come back behind you. One more time, squeeze it in. Good. Keep the hip open, stacked, and then stretch it straight back. Again, pushing out through the heel, but not arching the back. Awesome. And then come back to hands and knees, please. Beautiful. Do some hip circling, moving the pelvis. Good. And then moving your hips the other direction, circle the other direction. Beautiful. And then come back to hands and knees. Right arm out wide to the right, please. Slide behind your left wrist, right shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze, walk the left arm forward towards straight. Press into your shins. Good. One more breath, press into your left fingertips so that you can bend the elbow a little bit and lift that left rib cage higher. Good. And then release and come back to hands and knees. And go the other way, taking the left arm out and wide, sliding behind the right wrist, left shoulder finds the floor, right arm comes forward towards straight. Good. You're pressing into your shins so that there's activity, there's connection to the legs, to what's holding you. Then pressing into those right fingertips, bend the elbow a little bit and really rotate that right rib cage a little higher. Keep pressing into your shins. Good. Beautiful. And then release, please, coming back up to hands and knees, and then find your way back to downward facing dog. Good. And then step your right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Left hand plants right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Yeah, and you're drawing your belly back away from your thigh. You're drawing your rib cage back away from your thigh. So it's like you're falling onto that left hand. Good. Nice, you guys. Now scoop your low belly, send your knee forward a little bit more, thigh forward a little bit more, and now press your back thigh up and away. Wow. Good. And then release that right hand down to the floor, please. Nice job. Inhale, both arms to the sky, high lunge. Good. Bend your back knee a lot. Good. As the back knee bends, pull the thigh forward. So you're squeezing forward, lifting your hip points up, up, up. Good. And then take your hands back behind you, same position of the legs, don't change it. Interlace your fingers, pull your armpits up, but then drop the tops of your shoulders wide. Good, and lengthen through the arms, ribs in. Squeeze the legs, one more breath. Laura, watch that knee doesn't fall in, front knee. Awesome. Straighten the back thigh, please. Bow forward inside the front knee, stretching the arms up and over any amount. Keep squeezing the feet towards each other. Pull that right butt cheek back and in. And again, scooping into your low belly. Let your right thigh go forward and send your left inner thigh up and back. Awesome. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Step your left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Good. Finding your breath. Finding that feeling that there is purpose to the way you do things, not just what you do, but the way you do it. Right? Every pose is meant to show you your body. It's not an accomplishment. It's simply a way to see where you are. And then from where you are, again, your desire for your life to have meaning will direct you to what comes next. You have to see where you are. And all of it, the comfortable parts and the uncomfortable parts. Good, one more breath, lifting the right low belly just a little bit more. Nice. And then step the left foot forward alongside the right, standing forward fold. Good, feet a little bit as hips width at least. Bend your knees, drop back into chair, take your hands to your thighs and cat-cow in chair. Good. Exaggerate the positions just a little bit so that you have this real sensation that your pelvic tilting is what is allowing the feeling on your spine, right? So as you inhale, you're really stretching through the front of your belly. You're really stretching through the front of your chest. And then the exhale is stretching through the backside of the pelvis, stretching through the backside of the ribs. Good. But it's not just a flexing. Nice. What is the service that this pose is providing? Come back to stillness. Stretch the arms up alongside your ears. Good. Send your butt back. Nice. And then come all the way up to stand, please. Cross your right ankle in front of your left ankle. And then hold your right wrist with your left hand and lean to your left. Good. Drawing the top of your right hip and thigh back and wide because it's going to have a tendency to spin forward. Pull it back. That's it. Good. Now you're still leaning to the left, but pull your right armpit down towards your right hip. Ah. And then come back up to center, please. If you can, keep the feet crossed. Bow forward. Take your hands down to the floor. Cross-legged forward fold. Good. Letting your knees bend just a little bit so that your back knee is not locking back. And then with your knees bent, scoop your belly, push your butt straight up to the sky so that you feel that pull, that lengthening along both sides, outer edges of the legs. Nice. Beautiful. And then release, please. Uncrossing the ankles, feet underneath your hips, bend your knees, drop your hips for chair, walk your hands up to your thighs, and cat-cow. Good. This pelvic tilting is really significant for psoas, hip flexor stuff. Good. So it's not always, if we want something to open, is we don't always go to the most extreme version of stretch that we can find, as we find where there's movement possible. Right? Again, that feeling of accumulation, if something has become very hard and stuck, is you need to soften it. That's our practice, is how do we keep softening and softening and softening the places in us that have gotten very hard through accumulated experience. Good. Come back to stillness, arms up alongside your ears for chair. Let the weight of your hips draw back and down. Good. And then come all the way up to stand. Nice, you guys. Cross your left ankle in front of your right. And then you're reaching for your left wrist with your right hand and pulling to the right. Good. Again, that left hip is going to probably have a tendency to spin forward, so draw it back and try and lift it just a little higher. Good, because it also has a tendency to fall. So Sarah, like almost push towards your left hip a little bit more. Yeah, lift the left hip higher. There you go. A little bit more. Good, Harriet, same thing. Left hip up, up, up. Nice, you guys. And then come back up to center, please. Keep the ankle crossed, bow forward, hands to the floor or block, standing forward fold. Again, a little bend to the back knee so that there's a softening again for your shins, and then scooping the low belly, press your hips up towards the sky, but don't push your knees back. And try and feel all 10 toes, so both feet are getting as wide on the floor as they can. Good. Should feel almost like you're trying to widen your inner thighs. Nice. Left hip pulls a little higher and wider, you guys. That's it. Really good. Nice, Lauren. Nice, Susan. Nice, Harriet. Nice, Laura. Nice, Mark. Good. Unwind the feet, please. Good. Bend both knees again, dropping back towards chair. Inhale the arms up alongside the ears, and then hands to heart center, please. Prayer twist. Right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Good. Again, pressing slightly wide through the inner knees so that they're not falling in. Scoop your belly and find that place of your back rib cage getting more full. Good. Don't change the chair. Come back to center. Go the other way. Left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Navel to spine. So again, stay really full in that middle back. Low belly draws in and up. Belly away from your thighs. Drop your hips. Lift your heart. Nice, Harriet. And then come back to center, please. Release the hands to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. Again, feet are underneath the hips. Right hand to outer left ankle, left arm to the sky, twist. Pressing shins wide, pressing inner thighs wide. Hips up to the sky, heels down. Notice I didn't see knees back. I didn't say knees back. Good. Release and switch, go the other way. Left hand to right ankle or shin, right arm to the sky. Lifting through the rib cage. Good, so pull through that right arm like you're gonna pull yourself up to the ceiling with that arm. Nice, throat back, Molly. Yes. And then release that hand down to the floor. Nicely done, you guys. Good job. Step your, oh my gosh, we didn't even do the second side of anything. Step back to downward facing dog. Hello. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Lower down slow, coming to your belly. Good. Bend your knee. Just come into cobra first, actually. Cobra pose. Inhale, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then lower back down to your belly, please. Bend both knees. Kick your heels in. Then hands are alongside your ribs. So cobra pose with your knees bent. Press down through the front of your thighs. And then lift head, neck, and chest. Keep squeezing those heels in. Good. So again, you're lifting your hip points forward. Yeah. And then slowly release. Nice job. Press back up to downward facing dog. Okay. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Lunge. Good. Right hand plants, left arm to the sky. Would have been very funny if I just totally forgot about this whole part, the things that I was doing. Pull that left butt cheek back and in, you guys. Chest moves back, belly moves back away from that front thigh. Good. And then release the hand back down to the floor, please. Inhale, both arms to the sky, high lunge. So squeeze the feet towards each other, arms up. Good. Bend your back knee a lot. And then pull that thigh forward, lift your hip points up. So again, your tail is dropping straight down as you lift those hip points up. And squeeze that back knee forward. Good. Now take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine, pull your armpits up, chest up, but low rib cage down and tops of shoulders wide. Good. Squeeze the feet towards each other, pull your ribs in. Nice, nice, nice. And then start to straighten the back thigh, bow forward inside the front leg, taking the arms up and over any amount. Good. Keep pulling that back thigh back. And then you can scoop into your low belly, engage that left butt cheek, and bring that thigh forward a little bit more. Good. Harriet, just don't swing your hips over to the left. You got to really pull towards that midline, pull that left butt cheek in. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice job, you guys. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight. Parsvottanasana. Good. Nice, you guys. Again, finding your breath. A feeling of being in service. There's a lot like you sometimes hear, you know, not just my will, but the big will of what's necessary here. I'm willing to play my part. And I'm willing to admit that I don't know what my part is. That I have an idea of what I think I would like to give to the world, but I have no idea what's needed. But I'm willing to give what's needed. So that's what we cultivate. And that's that feeling of we soften and we soften and we soften those places that are so determined to stay the way that they are, stay the way that we think that they should be. And then our practice is don't procrastinate. Whatever you are led to do, do it. Confront whatever needs to be confronted in the moment. Don't wait. Don't let it accumulate inside. One more breath, drawing that right low belly a little bit higher and wide. Sorry, left low belly higher and wider, right hip spins forward. Good. Nice. And then step both feet forward again, top of your mat. Separate your feet nice and wide. Toes turn out, bend your knees, come down, squat. And walk your hands out in front of you and squat. So instead of hands at your heart, hands in front of you. Good. And really round into your back. So round into your back rib cage here, round into your low belly, and just feel that experience again, almost like you did in child's pose. You can even hug your knees a little bit for support of the hips, but round into your spine and let those hips descend. Good, because you're rounding. And then draw your shoulders wide away from your ears. Nice. And now lift your chest up, again, extending your spine, but not arching the back. So keep extending and lifting the chest. Good, and letting those hips drop. And then take the arms, one or both, up alongside your ears. Yeah, nice. Navel in, ribs in, wide chest. Good. And then release the hands to the floor, please. Nice job. Straighten the legs, turn your toes forward. Awesome. Heel toe your feet a little closer. Step your right leg back behind you. Drop the heel to forward, parallel to the back of your mat. Warrior two. Good. And then straighten your front thigh, please. Preparation for triangle pose. So both legs are straight. Extend the left rib cage forward. Go as far as you can. Reach, reach, reach. Widening the thighs. And then let that left hand start to touch down. Right hand comes to your right rib cage. Good. Yeah. So I want you to round your back a little bit in your triangle. And again, if you need a block underneath the hand, use a block. But round back. So you're going to bring your rib cage more in line with your front thigh. Good. And then from there, push your right rib cage up towards the ceiling. So round in that direction. And then really press through your right outer heel, your back heel, and pull that right hip higher. So you're actually really decompressing. Good. And now try and maintain that as you extend your spine, your left armpit forward. Okay, Anju, have fun. Good luck. And then take that right arm up to the sky. Nice. So Laura, you're making it hard for yourself. That left hand can be on the floor. Yeah. Don't make life hard for yourself. Good. Reaching in all directions. Use your legs here. One more deep breath. Pull through that right arm like you're going to reach to the ceiling. Good. And then bend the left knee. Come back to warrior two. Cartwheel the arms up. And then right hand comes down the back thigh, left palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Nice. And then come back to center again, please. Take the hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine, turn your ribs forward, but keep that right hip open. So your hips are still turning to the sides, same position. And then bow inside the front thigh, taking the arms up and over any amount. So again, it's these little oppositional things that you're still trying to maintain that openness on the right hip, even as your ribs come forward. So that starts to open up that tight, sticky place of where your torso, your middle back, your middle torso meets with your pelvis. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job. Spin your back heel up. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like, child's pose if you prefer. If you're doing the vinyasa, you're sliding forward to plank, lowering down slow, rising up cobra, and coming back downward facing dog. Good. And just keep in mind with a lot of these deep muscles is that there is feedback, right? So when we take a muscle that's very tight, or we take a place in our life that's very tight, and then we very directly and almost aggressively try and get it to change, is we meet resistance, we get feedback, we get pushback. Right foot steps forward between the hands, please, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat, warrior two, take the arms up and wide. And then preparation for triangle, straighten the left thigh. Good, reach your right arm forward, extend the right rib cage. Good. And then let that hand touch down to the floor or a block. Take your left hand to your left ribs. Good. So first I want you to round forward and back. So turtle your back, round like you're doing cat. So you're bringing your rib cage more in line with that front thigh. So you can even move your shoulder or move your hand to make that true. Good. Now start to push your left ribs up towards the ceiling. So you're rounding through the other aspect, the other angle of your spine. Good. Pressing through the outer left heel, feeling the stretch on the outer left hip. Good. Now try and maintain that feeling of open space there and extend your right ribs forward. So start to lengthen from your hips to your armpits, from the crown of your head to your tail. Good, but keep that feeling that you are staying full in your middle back and that you are trying to keep those left ribs pressing up towards the sky. Good. Nice, you guys. Throat back. Beautiful. Awesome. One more breath. Extend from your hips to your armpits. Extend. And then bend the right knee, please. Come back to warrior two. Cartwheel the arms up. Good. Left hand down, drops down the back thigh. Right palm spins up and back. Reverse warrior. Again, breathing that space from armpit to hip, that's what's decompressing. That's what's getting less sticky. Come back to center, please. Arms wide. Reach back behind you. Interlace the fingers at the low spine. Turn your ribs forward, but do your best to keep that left hip spinning wide to the left. And then bow inside the front thigh. Take the arms up and over any amount. So of course that left hip is going to spin forward a little bit. It has to. But again, it's how well you can hold to the, experience of your pelvis opening that keeps you from going too much in the opposite direction. So you don't want everything to fall forward, but just enough to be of service, right? Just enough to allow there to be space for movement. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, please. Good job. Spin your back heel up, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose. Lower down to your belly slow. Good. Bend both knees, kick your heels in towards your butt. Reach back for the right hand, right ankle, left hand, left ankle. Good. Pressing your thighs down to the floor, heels in towards your butt. Bend your elbows, lift head, neck, and chest. So frog. Good. So you're keeping the heels down, keeping the thighs down, bending your elbows. Good. Nice. And internally, that low space of your belly is drawing your hip points forward up towards your ribs. Good. Elbows bent, elbows bent, elbows bent. Good. And then slowly release, please. Forehead to the floor. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Arms, palms facing down, still reaching in the direction of your feet. Locust pose, extend out through the inner thighs. Good, front of the pelvis down, lift the legs up off the floor, and then lift head, neck, and chest, floating the arms up as well. Like you are getting as long as you can, not as high as you can. So pull the armpits away from the hips, pull the hips back away from the armpits. Good, long throat. Nice. And then still in this lifted position, option here to bend your knees, kick your heels in, lift those thighs. Don't reach for your feet, just do the work with your legs. So your thighs are still lifted and you're pressing up through your heels and your upper body is still engaged in the back bend. And I don't care how close you are to reaching your feet or not, stay in that extended state. Lift. Nice. And then slowly release, forehead to the floor. Make a pillow with your hands, or you can turn one cheek if that feels better. So I was saying that when we go straight to what we think is going to eradicate our problems, especially when we're talking muscularly, as we often get into that loop where we try too hard and the muscle that is stuck in the position that it's stuck in, we get the feedback and then it hurts. And it doesn't hurt because it's stretching, it hurts because it's protecting itself. So this is the same for us spiritually or as people, that if we try and push to eradicate a problem, we try and push where something is very rigid or stuck. So we get that feedback, we get that pushback, we get the protection instead of the softening. So that feeling of how may I be in service is how can I soften myself? How can I soften where I enter into the world so that there doesn't have to be that pushback? There can be actual resolution, there can be actual growth, there can be actual something. To treat your body in this way, where your practice, your physical practice is a service to your body. And not because your body needs to be taught a lesson, right? It's teaching you, this is where I am. Don't bypass it, don't ignore it, and don't procrastinate. One more breath where you are. And then flip over onto your backs, please. Ooh. So exciting in the middle of class to be on your back. Good, take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Lift your left shin parallel to the floor, reach through to hold. Good. Pay attention to having equal weight on both sit bones. So you may have to place a little bit more weight on the left side of your sacrum. Pay attention to trying to lengthen out through your lower spine. So your belly is drawing in to move the belly away from the tops of your thighs. And then you're pressing your left thigh into your hands if you're holding, so that you have that feeling of extension, space. Good. Beautiful. One more breath there. Drag the thigh in maybe a little bit closer to you. And then again, add that resistance of pushing away. Awesome. Release your hold on the thigh. Please cross your right thigh all the way on top of your left. Good. Wrap the shins towards each other. So squeeze the shins like your legs are in eagle. Take your left arm on top of the right in front of your chest. So you're in eagle pose on your back. Don't let your hands fall on your face. Good. Nice. And deep breath in. As you exhale, bring your elbows and knees towards each other, round into your back, squeeze in. Keep pressing your shins against each other. Good. And the rounding is like you're pressing back into the back of your body. And then slowly release, please. Unwind the arms, unwind the legs, squeeze the knees into the chest. Good. And then switch to the other side, left ankle on top of right thigh. Reaching through to hold the right leg, flexing the feet. Again, you might have to balance your weight. It might have to come a little bit more towards the right side of your sacrum. Good. And again, you're pressing the right thigh into your hand. So there's that feeling of pushing away so that you stay very open in the front of your pelvis, so very aware of the length of your lower back. Good. In any moment, what are you giving back to the world? What are you giving away to the world? What are you gifting? So it's less about what you're going to accomplish as your service or what great things you're going to do that will be recognized. But it's an acknowledgement that your life is intertwined with those around you. So how can what you do and the way that you do it be a gift, be an offering, be of service to those who are suffering maybe more than you, different than you? Go ahead, draw the knee in a little bit closer. So you bring the legs in a little closer, and then again, add that pressure back. Once you brought the legs in, push back. Navel to spine. Good, and then slowly release that leg, please. Cross the left leg all the way on top of the right. Press the shins together, eagle legs. Good. And then right arm comes over top of left in front of your chest. Wrap the arms as well. Good. And again, if right and left aren't making any sense to you, just try and do what you didn't do before. Good. Press your shins together, Lauren. Yeah, even more. Yep, there you go, eagle. You got it. Deep breath in, you guys, and then exhale. Bring your elbows and knees towards each other, pressing into the wideness of your back body. So it's not just a clenching, a squeezing of the front abdominals, but it's widening into your back body. Good, and then slowly release, unwind the arms, unwind the legs, squeeze the knees in. Good, roll forward and back on your spine. Good, bring yourself up to balance in boat pose, up on your sit bones. Good, and then let just the tips of your toes drop down to the floor. Take your hands back behind you on fingertips. Fingers pointing towards your feet. Yeah, so Carolina, turn your hands. There you go. And then again, round into your back. So round into your middle back here. Keeping those groins pressing down and still dragging your feet back. So you still have that boat pose energy of your legs where you're pulling your thighs up and in, but round into your back. And then hug those upper arms towards each other. Start to lift your chest. Again, lengthening your spine without pushing your ribs forward. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Chest opens. And you're squeezing those thighs in, groins down. And then keeping the hands on the floor, take your legs up off the floor again, back into boat. Keep your chest this lifted. Don't lean back if you don't absolutely have to. Lengthen your spine. Use the energy of the legs to lift them, but feel also that connection of pulling your spine long from the lowest part of you. And your hands are there to support. So pull up from the back of your sacrum, ribs in. One more breath. Good, and then release, please. Bottoms of the feet together, Baddha Konasana. I know you can turn around in a second, just forward fold. Good. Baddha Konasana. And it would have been so much easier if I just said boat pose, the way you always do it. Just find your sit bones and arch your back and do what you always do so that you can get your legs up. Don't do that. All of these positions, and again, if you are paying attention, is that all of them is I'm trying to soften those areas of the body that are going to inhibit your ability to get to those deeper muscles, and to actually start to have those muscles soften before you even go into an intense stretch so that they can get there, they can be there, and you don't get that feedback, the pushback. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Good. Spin yourself so that you face the top of your mat. Come back to hands and knees. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of fancy things to get you to turn around. Just turn around. Downward facing dog. Okay. Right leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Bring that knee forward and wide for pigeon. Right knee goes wide towards your right wrist. Walk the left leg back. Good. Settling the pelvis. And then come on forward onto your hands or elbows or blocks, whatever you need. Good. And for a moment on your elbows or hands or blocks or whatever you're using, round your back. And then from that rounded place, so your ribs stay rounded, I want you to now try and flare your sit bones back. So lengthen the lower spine again. Good. And maybe that feels like your whole spine has to lengthen, and that's great if it does, but I don't want you to drop your ribs. Awesome. And then maybe release all of that effort and just be in pigeon where you are. Keep your front foot awake. Good. Can you look at your whole practice as just a means of softening the places in you that have gotten hard through accumulated experience? And it doesn't negate any of those moments where you're like, well, it got this way because blah, 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 blah. We have really good reasons for why we are the way that we are. Doesn't negate any of it, but can you start to soften where you have accumulated that feeling? And one of the ways we do that is we start to say, how can I serve? Where is there something that I can give and I'm not expecting to get anything? I'm looking to just be of benefit. And certainly you can receive plenty from that. There's no reason not to. What matters is that desire to be in a place of wanting to give and then not procrastinating so you actually do it. Take one more breath. And walk yourself back up onto your forearms or your hands. The option here is to bend the back knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, reach back for the foot or the ankle. Same hand, same foot is my suggestion. You could certainly go for the twist, but same hand, same foot so that you are working in a more neutral place with that left leg, with your back leg. Good. So there's that feeling of lifting the front pelvic bones forward and up and drawing your chest back. Get vertical. Good. This is one of those positions that's really helpful for psoas. Try to feel like you're bringing your left butt cheek back towards your left heel and then lift those hip points again. Wow. Good. And then slowly release. Nice job. Take that back foot to the floor. Plant your hands, lift the back knee, and then step your right foot right between your hands. Lunge. Good. Drop the back knee to the floor. Use a blanket if you'd like. Anjaneyasana. So the same thing that you were just simulating, right, in that quad stretch. I want you to find the same sort of feeling here, is that you are drawing those hip points forward and up. So it's not about how deep can I go, but how much can I lift the front of my pelvis. And then arms to the sky, heart to the sky, mind to the sky. Deep, deep breath in. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor inside the front foot. Walk to the upper left-hand corner of your mat and drop down to your elbows. Good. Notice as you drop down, you bring the torso down or the chest down. If you collapse through the front of your left thigh, if it's just hanging towards the floor or if it's pushing towards the floor, try to keep that feeling of lifting your left butt cheek up slightly towards your left heel. And then you can hollow the low belly. So again, you can lift your hip points up in that position. What allows you to stay deep in the lunge, but it doesn't get that place of the psoas stuck and hard. Good. Every one of us mentally is we're hoarders. That's the problem. As we accumulate experience and we keep it. We fill every little corner of ourselves with stuff, thoughts, emotions, feelings, memories. So the practice of yoga is, can you soften and start to unaccumulate? You bring yourself back to where your life is a service, not something that needs to be managed. Where we are giving more than we think that we are accumulating, or at least in equal amounts, giving and accumulating. Take one more breath. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Beautiful. Lift the back knee, step your left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight Parsvottanasana. It'll feel good. Might not feel great, but it'll feel good. We have to be realistic because there are some poses just might never feel great. It's just the truth. But it will feel like relief after what you were just doing. Good. And then go ahead and step back to downward facing dog, please. Vinyasa if you'd like, child's pose if you'd prefer. Doing the vinyasa means sliding forward to plank, lowering down to your belly, rising up cobra. Nice, Lauren. Downward facing dog. Nice, Sarah. Good. Mark, let your head hang just a little bit so that your ears are in line with your upper arm, and then lift the back of your throat, but keep that angle of your head so you're not looking forward so much. That's it. Good. Left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring that left knee forward and wide, pigeon on the second side. Good. Sliding the right leg back. Good. Letting your pelvic bones find where they are in line with each other. Then walk forward. Once you've set your pelvis, walk forward onto your hands or elbows or blocks. And then stay there and round your back. Yep. And the rounding is all the way down into your pelvis. So again, you're putting a little pressure on that right leg is extended back behind you. And that rounding through your pelvis puts a little pressure on that forward or the front part of your thigh and deeper into your pelvis. You're putting a little pressure. Good. And then stay rounded, but start to extend your pelvis back again. So you're flaring your sit bones, almost like you're going to arch your lower back. Good. Nice. And then release the effort and just let yourself be as open in pigeon as you can be. Keeping the front foot awake. That's the only requirement, is you have to keep that foot awake. How do you intend to continue to serve? Because the need is never gone. That's the thing. Circumstances change, but the need for us to be in service to each other doesn't change. And if we stay connected to that desire to be of service, that desire to give more than we accumulate, then where our life takes us is different than maybe where we thought we were going to go. So you will continue to do what you need to do, are able to do. But that expands when the inner spaces say, I want to be of service. And maybe even I want to let go of what I've accumulated. Don't need it anymore. Thank you. Softer and softer and softer. Good. Walk yourself back up onto your forearms or onto your hands. Quad stretch if you'd like, bending the back knee, reaching back, right hand for the foot or the ankle. So same hand, same foot is my suggestion. Good. So that you can really work at turning that outer right hip forward so that your pelvis is staying as square as you can get it. And then you're lifting your hip points up and sending your right butt cheek slightly back. So the combination of those two things, my butt goes back, but my hip points lift up, is again causing those more internal muscles to have to stretch. Good. Chest up. Nice, Susan. Good, Harriet. Good, Laura. Nice, Molly. Can't see you, Lisa, but I'm sure you're doing great. And then slowly release. Good, you guys. Take that right foot down to the floor, lift that back knee, and then step your left foot right between the hands, please. So 1 step if you can, 13 steps if you need. Good. And then drop the right knee down to the floor, Anjaneyasana. Use a blanket there if you need. Inhaling the arms up to the sky. Again, your butt moves slightly back. Like you're going to take your butt back to your heel, and then you're lifting your hip points up. So it's like your belly comes away from your thigh and the chest rises up. And then if you go deeper into the lunge, it's because you've brought your whole pelvis forward, but not because you've pushed from your back into the front. Good. So you have to check yourself constantly. That's also part of being in service. You have to check yourself constantly. Where am I? Where am I coming from? Don't bypass. Deep breath in. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, both hands inside the front foot. Walk to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Drop down to your forearms or onto blocks. The idea is to let the shoulders go lower, let the waist go lower. Mark, just watch your knee doesn't fall in. Yeah, you want to push it the other way. There you go. Good. Don't let your back thigh collapse. Keep your butt slightly lifted. Do your best if your cat's in your face. Good. Stay relaxed here, you guys. The more you relax in these positions, the more that they are able to open what needs to open. So it's not just your mind saying, I'm in this position, my hips better be getting more open. It's just stay. And what opens, opens. It might be more of your back that needs to open. Might be more of your shoulders. Might just be that you suddenly realize how much you hold tension, you hold yourself tight, and if you just let go, your body goes somewhere else. Good. Slowly walk yourself back out, please. Nice. Lift the back knee up. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Parsvottanasana. Good. Breathing through the whole spine. Inner thighs go back and wide. Armpits pull forward. Widen the thighs right and left. And be where you are. And the pose tells you, the pose shows you, this is where I am. So feel that, because if we bypass that in our practice, then what are we doing? Good. And then bend that front knee again, please. Step the left foot forward or both feet forward, because I think it's your right foot coming forward. So step forward, both feet, top of your mat. Separate your feet nice and wide again. Come down, come down, squat. Turn your toes out. Hands to the floor around your back. Good. And drop your hips as you round your back. And squeeze your knees towards each other. Good. And then heck, for fun, if you want to come into a crow pose here, go for it. Plant your hands, lift your butt, but stay rounded in your low spine. Good. And if crow doesn't make any sense, take another couple of breaths and squat and then come down to sit. Good. And you're squeezing your knees in and pulling up, rounding through your armpits. Awesome. And then feet back to the floor. Everybody finds their way down to sit. Nice job. That's good, you guys. Stretch both legs out in front of you. Nice. Inhale the arms up alongside the ears. Flex your feet. Dig down through your heels and push your butt back as you bow forward. So reaching in the direction of your feet. Doesn't matter if you reach them, just extend. Good, but press down through your heels and pull back. So there's a feeling of I'm pulling my legs into my pelvis. And my lengthening of my spine is coming from the lengthening of my pelvis. But as much as I am lengthening out, I'm squeezing in. So my thighs pull in. So I'm never asking more than what my body is willing to give. And I'm looking for there to be the opportunity to soften. Not just to stretch, but soften what has become too hard. Good. Walk yourself slowly back up, please. Nice. Come on down to your backs. I'm going to offer shoulder stand as an inversion. If you would prefer to do a different inversion, you are welcome to do that. So if you want to stay upright and do a headstand, handstand, any of that, especially if you have a wall, go for it. If shoulder stand still doesn't feel like a great idea and you want to put your low back on a block with your legs up, you can do that, or even just resting in restorative bridge, you can do that. But shoulder stand is a nice one for really getting into lengthening the lower back. So make your choice of an inversion. Good. And if you're coming into shoulder stand, again, you're pressing down through the upper arms. And again, the length that is coming through here is from your middle back. So you're pulling up through the legs, but it's not the legs that are doing the work, right? It's your back that has to do the work. So you press down through the upper arms, through the top ridge of the shoulders, and pull up from that middle back, from your shoulder blades are pulling up to your feet. From behind your heart is pulling up to your feet, and your chest stays really wide. Good. And again, your practice is a service to your body. So if shoulder stand does not make sense today, you do something else. Really good use of furniture, Lisa and Molly. That's great. Keep it up. Good. Couple more breaths. If you're in full shoulder stand and you have the space to do so and you want to come into plow, go ahead and let the toes come down, but keep pushing your butt up towards the sky. So again, you don't want to lose that feeling that you are lengthening your spine and you're not just letting gravity pull on your spine. Good. Nice, you guys. Last breath where you are. And then slowly begin to roll down the spine. If you are in shoulder stand, drawing the knees in towards your chest. If you are in a different inversion, slowly find your way back down. If you've been in headstand or handstand, you want to take a moment in child's pose or sitting on your heels. That was interesting, Susan. Take a moment. If you've been in shoulder stand, just let your feet come to the floor and let your spine rest there. If the back is a little cranky, let your knees fall in towards each other and widen your feet. Good. And then drawing the right knee in towards your chest, extend the left leg straight down to the floor. And then bring the right knee over the body, cross, spinal twist. Right arm can extend wide or up over the ear, whichever feels better to you. Good. You're breathing into the back body, still focused there. Nice, and then come back to center, please, squeezing that knee in towards the chest. And then send the right leg down to the floor, bring your left knee in, come into spinal twist across the body. Left arm goes wide or up over the ear. Come back to center, please. Plant both feet, bend both knees. Your last pose, one bridge pose. Plant your feet, set your arms. Then as you drag back on your heels, lift your chest, lift your hips. Breathe yourself up into bridge. Again, with this feeling that you're not pushing your hips to their limit, but that you're dragging back on your heels and drawing your armpits down in the opposite direction. So it's that lengthening that matters, not how high can I get, how long can I get. From the back of your heart, lift up. Good. And then slowly release one vertebra at a time, so don't just drop your spine. Beautiful. And then start to stretch the legs out in front of you for Shavasana. Arms alongside you, palms up. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath, letting the body begin to stretch, move, whatever ways serve it well. And then as you draw your knees in towards your chest, roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. Anjali Mudra. We translate it to say, how may I serve? But it's really those deeper questions of being in a state, stepping into a state that says, can I look at what's needed? And can I look inside of me to see how much I'm willing to give of what's needed? Because the need is always there. So to be in service is not just how would I like to serve, but what's actually being asked of me. What does the world need, and can I give it? Am I willing to give it? And do I see the way for me to give it? This is what it means to be in service. Doesn't matter what you end up doing as service, but that state where you want to give more than you want to accumulate, and where you're looking for what's needed, not what do I want to give. then you are taken to where you need to go. So this practice of being in service is constant. It's always necessary. And when we don't know what direction is the quote right direction, we turn to that. If I'm willing to serve, then my path of service will be put in front of me. And then just don't procrastinate. So we'll close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week until I see you again. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first day where what was my Monday class happens on Thursday. So tomorrow, 4:30 is when we're doing what are we calling it now? Focus flow, yoga mechanics, whatever it is, breaking down poses. So it starts tomorrow.
Thanks, Veronica.